2019, Sudan's former president Omar al-Bashir was ousted by the military after months of protest. A power-sharing deal between military and civilian groups was agreed after his removal. It was meant to pave the way for elections at the end of 2023. But tensions between civilian and military transitional leaders have soared. Just last month, a coup attempt took place in Sudan. Some say it was an organized attempt by the military to take power. In just a week from today, a civilian leader was expected to take over as head of the transitional authority. Some critics say this could be the reason behind the arrest of Transitional Prime Minister Hamdok and 4 other cabinet ministers, a tactic to scuttle the civilian democratic transition. Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has called on people to take to the streets to protest against the prospect of military rule. Hamdok's arrest comes days after he and Sovereign Council leader General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan met with Jeffrey Feltman, the U.S. Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa. Feltman urged all sides to recommit to working together to implement country's return to democracy after Bashir's removal. General Burhan said the military was keen to protect that transition. With the latest developments, the promise of Sudan's transition is in the balance. Chamrono, CGTN.
So for more, we're now joined via Skype by Professor Tong Xiao Yang from the Department of International Relations at Tsinghua University. Professor, good to have you with us on the show. So this comes after an attempted coup last month that failed. So what is happening? Why does Sudan's military take over the government now?
Thank you very much. And so since the last failed coup, in fact, the relationship between the civilian government and the military has just been getting worse and worse. So while the prime minister, he accused the military of protecting the Islamists in his military, and then the military actually due to this pressure, they also feel angered, and there were frictions, and also this, especially when the time now is coming to this transition to the civilian government, as people said, in weeks, then the military feel this urgency of taking actions to protect the interests of the military.
So what comes next for Sudan? Is this ending hopes for a civilian government that many people had hoped for after the fall of Omar al-Bashir?
No, actually, I don't think so. I think the military, in fact, they do not really intend to stay in power for long. In fact, I would rather say they just target at the Prime Minister Hamdok. And they, in fact, have already been in talk with some opposition leaders who is also a civilian politician. So I believe, in fact, also the Sudanese society, they actually support, in general, they support the transitional, peaceful transition, support the agreement, and support the civilian government. So the military knows that. And I believe the Sudanese military may very quickly arrange a substitute figure to replace Prime Minister Hamdok, and through dialogue to form a new transitional government. But this transitional government should also then listen to the military and should also take care of military interest. That's for sure.
So you say the military doesn't, you don't think the military intends to hold on to power for long, and they have announced they expect elections in 2023. Why so late? Why not sooner? Why not next year?
I think that's already written in the transitional agreement. So they planned for this election in 2023, or sometimes even talked about 2024. So I think the military, when they do not really extend this election date, that's already a positive sign. And when they really give a clear timeline, that actually shows that they do really think about moving towards the civilian election. And that's actually also the trend in the region, like in Egypt, their neighbors, they also saw this kind of military control, but then gradually transited to the civilian election and government. I think the region actually welcomes this model.
So you know this is a part of the country that is long troubled. How concerned are you that the violence we're seeing on the streets in Khartoum could escalate and that the country could slip into a civil war?
Yeah, indeed, the risk is still very high for a potential civil war. And Khartoum, I think the military may be very strong, have this stronghold, and I believe the military may also have may be able to control the situation. But however, also around the country, in the east part, in Darfur, there was still so many problems existing, and so the military, I think, and also the maybe the later government, they should really do a good job to maintain, to recover the economy as soon as possible. As if you do not have power, you do not have jobs, then the oppositions, they will grow stronger and grow, the resentment will grow high, and then the danger will be even larger.
Yeah, without question.